Day 2 of the NFL Draft is here. If you are excited, if you are hyped for the second and third round today, then spam me in the comment section of today's video as we break down the updated Mel Kiper big board, the best available players left for round 2. At number 14 overall for Mel is Cooper DeJean, the cornerback out of Iowa, who I think a lot of people will have as one of their best players left. He is in my top 5 best available, 28th overall on my board. There are man coverage concerns with Cooper DeJean, some agility questions as well. That's a big reason why he's still available. Next up is linebacker Edgerrin Cooper. Mel had him in his top 30. One of only 2 players Mel had in his top 32 that were not first-round picks, which is impressive. And again, Mel's big board is often heavily influenced based on what he's hearing. I think he heard some good things this year. Second round grade for me, I only have 1 true first round grade left. I've got 2 cheater second round grades we'll get to here in a little bit. Keon Coleman, he's 37th on my board, 33 on the board for Mel. So again, not much of a disagreement from that standpoint. One of a very, very talented wide receiver class that will have several players going in today's rounds. Kool-Aid McKinstry is 35th for Mel. He's 23rd for me. Cheater second round grade. The Jones foot fracture that he's recovering from as we speak, had surgery after his pro day, I think is a factor in why he's available. I don't think he should last that long. I am a large fan of his game overall. Adonai Mitchell at 36, 29th on my board, second round grade. I'm not that surprised he slid out of round 1. I thought that was a possibility. There's some football character stuff. Tends to check out after some plays. I have heard he doesn't always manage the prep work that he needs to manage properly. But the upside is wide receiver 1 potential. I think he's going at some point early on day 2. My best available receiver left is McKonkey, 27th on my board. He's not the biggest guy, but he is incredibly athletic. He gets open. He when healthy, has been pretty productive in an offense. Didn't throw the ball that much to begin with. I like his game a lot. With the Bills at pick 33, would it surprise anybody if it was McKonkey, Mitchell, or Keon Coleman? Wouldn't that make all the sense in the world? So who goes with that 33rd overall pick? Right now it's Buffalo. Maybe a trade happens. Who do you think, though, is that 33rd overall pick to begin round 2? It's the pinned comment on today's video. The ad comes on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. Iowa State corner TJ Tampa next up here. He was a trickier player in terms of figuring out how to rank him for me. There's some similar concerns there with DeJean. Like, is he really that great in man coverage? 61st on my board, so our first major disagreement there. My best available player is Johnny Newton. He's a top 15 player for me in this year's class. Last year, I was like, Brian Branch is a stud. I don't know why NFL teams allowed him to fall to where they did, blah, blah, blah. It's Johnny Newton this year for me. This is the different player in position, obviously. But this is a top 15 player who, for whatever reason, NFL's not as high on. They can be wrong. Someone's going to get a stud defensive tackle on day 2. The edge class is a little bit thin as we move forward here. Adisa Isaac is 41st on Mel's board. I have a 3rd round grade on him. I am not as high on Isaac. And in general, for me, the second round players, I don't love all of them. There's a lot of concerns I've got, and it gets a little thin in the second and third rounds relative to where these guys are going to be drafted. It's not there's much of early round 2 grades, much of mid-late round 2 grades. I am also not as high on Malachi Corley, the Western Kentucky wide receiver. 3rd round grade for me. He just doesn't run routes well. Incredible yak production, but he doesn't run routes as well as I would prefer him to. I've got Roman Wilson at 42. Mel's got him at 43, so no real difference there, just a little bit higher among the wide receivers. He runs routes well. He gets open, and he's very athletic as well. Kamari Lassiter, cornerback out of Georgia. I have a 3rd round grade on him, 70th on my board. You can see some big differences here. This is a player who the straight line speed is such a concern. He might have to move to nickel in the NFL. Rook Arororo out of Clemson, the 55th pick, or 55 on my board, 45 for Mel, so a little bit higher on him than I am, but not by a tremendous amount there. little bit of a weird, like, is he a run stopper? Is he a pass rusher at his best? But there's a lot of traits to really be intrigued by for the Clemson defensive tackle. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. If you are sweating whatever pick your team will make on day 2 and round 3, I get it. You shouldn't have to worry, though, about getting tickets to your next event. And Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. It is easy to find and buy tickets for whatever event is in your area, wherever that event is across the country here. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect once you arrive. You can kind of move your phone around and get kind of that live photo action to get a good view of your seat. All-in prices do show your total up front, so you know you're getting a great deal before you check out. Buy tickets in seconds with just 2 taps. Game Time has deals on those tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but create your account and download the app at gametime.co use code CHATSPORTS ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. The link and, of course, the promo code will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. My best available interior offensive guard, I'll clarify that with some centers, we'll get to here in a little bit, I think. Cooper DeJean, 41st on my board, 46 for Mel. I think that's a plug-and-play option at left guard, maybe a center for some teams as top of that. Von Bullard out of Georgia, who's Mel's listing as a defensive back, because I also don't know if he's a safety or a nickel corner. This would be Mel's top safety, who he's got at 47. I've got at 60. But again, if we're splitting hairs by 13 spots, I'm not overly concerned about that one. 48 is Ben Sinnott, and there's a lot of people who are big fans of his game because he can block, although I think he's actually not an elite blocker yet. But really great athlete there. Wouldn't be shocked if Mel's right here. Maybe not as high as 48, but he ends up being the second tight end taken in a not great tight end class beyond Brock Bowers. Chris Braswell, 49th overall. He's 62 on my board, so that kind of second, third round cheater range. Max Melton, and I wanted to put him up higher. I couldn't fully get all the way on board at 50. But I have a third round grade on him. He's one of my favorite third round potential picks. Now, if he goes earlier, maybe I should have been a bit higher on him. But Mel's pretty high on him. And he was very high on Roger Rosengarten. 57th on my board, 51st for Mel, who at one point had hyped him up as a first round pick and then kind of backed off that one a little bit. 52 is Troy Franklin. We're going through the top, I believe, 32 players on Mel's board left available here. So we're going to get into the 60s. Franklin is 43rd on my board. He's got speed, and speed is something that NFL teams always find a way to crave. Zach Frazier, who I have as 34th on my board, so I'm much higher on Mel, who in general doesn't like centers. He has never been very high on centers. He always tends to grade those players lower than most. Frazier is going to be a coach's dream. That is the toughest player in this year's class. Who do you think is the best NFL draft prospect left on the board? I have Johnny Newton. Mel's got Cooper DeJean. Who do you have? Sound off in the comments. Ennis Rakestraw, who I've seen round 1 buzz on before. I'm glad he did not go round 1. I didn't see it as much as others did with him. He's actually much lower on my board at 67. Peyton Wilson, I have at 50. Mel's got at 55. It's a medical thing. Do double-digit surgeries scare you? Yes, it does. It should. But hey, you know what? I think a team can get a really good football player in the second round. One of my favorite guys in round 2, who I actually have in my top 40, 20 spots higher than Mel does, Mikey Sainristil. Yes, it is Mikey, not Mike. Mikey, kind of like Nike, or Mikey with a Y. Undersized nickel corner, but he got that dog in him, and I love those types of players. Jackson Powers Johnson, 21st on my board. There's something up there. I don't know if it's medicals, which is a thing, or he didn't interview well. But there's some stuff that's got to get squared away with JPJ there. Kingsley Suamataia, I had it 31, but I kind of hate like my 28 to like 48. I'm like, where the hell do I put these guys? So Suamataia is a pretty divisive prospect this year. Traits are there, kind of like Tyler Guyton, but has some rawness to his game. Christian Haynes at guard. He is actually, this is not, I don't have him very often, also 59th on my board. So Mel and I seeing the player pretty darn similarly. Now, we once again will be live for the entire NFL draft. Day 2 will be live a couple hours in advance. So, if you haven't already, hit that sub button right now. Chris Jenkins out of Michigan. He's 74th on my board, 60th on Mel. I am a pretty big fan of 2 players that Mel did not put above Jenkins. Braden Fisk, who's undersized, but he's really athletic. And Brandon Dorlus, one of my actual favorite third-round prospects this season. Cole Bishop out of Utah is the number 1 true safety on Mel's board over guys like Jaden Hicks and Tyler Nubin. I've got very limited grade differences between Bishop and Bullard and Nubin and Hicks, but safety is kind of weird this year. I've got 5 guys in my top 100 and then a bunch of guys in the 4th round and 1 guy on my top 50. It's just not, I don't love the class this season. Bit of a surprise here, at least for me. Jalen McMillan is above Jalen Polk for the Washington wide receivers. I've got Polk at 47, McMillan at 78. Mel has McMillan at 62. Would not be surprised to see Marshawn Nealon go pretty early today. There's fans of him in the NFL, but I thought he did not dominate MAC play like he should have. Had an elite game against Eastern Michigan, then didn't do anything else. That scares me. Great athlete, though. He's 83rd on my board. And one last linebacker, Junior Colson. He's in my top 55. Mel's got him at 64. No inside linebackers taken today. Yesterday. No running backs taken today. No running backs in Mel's top 32 players left, by the way. That will change. There will be those players taken. I would say at least 1 running back or linebacker will be taken in the top 56 picks of today's NFL draft.